afternoon, everybody. My name is Brendan Williamson. I'm the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of DPO South Africa, and we're extremely excited to partner with OnlineX today to bring you this webinar entitled Build Your Platform, Build Your House. If you're not familiar with Paygate, we form part of the DPO group, servicing in excess of 175,000 e-commerce merchants throughout Africa in 19 countries. And forming part of that, of the DPO group, is DPO Kenya, Paygate, PayFast, and SID Secure EFT, the EFT product. We exist in the payment space to make it easy to accept payments online. You may have seen recently we launched a new product called Paygate Plus. Paygate Plus is a single integrated product that allows you, the e-commerce or online merchant, through a single integration to accept in excess of 7 different payment methods, supported by a exclusive and comprehensive risk management service, recon services, making it easier for you to recon and accept those payments online. However, there's a lot more to be done before you go into the online realm. And that's why we have Josh and Dylan with us to take us through all the intricacies before you get to the point of actually embedding a payments partner. And we'll be telling us a little bit more about what's needed to get your online business and your online shop up and running. So over to you, Josh and Dylan, to excite us.
Great, thanks, Brendan. Thank you very much for the introduction, and well done to all the great work. Thank you for the great work that you guys are doing. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to all our attendees from this cold and chilly Johannesburg afternoon. My name is Dylan, as Brendan said, and I'm joined by our creative director, my friend, also my boss, Josh Jaffe. Josh, how are you doing?
All well, thanks. Thanks, Dylan. Nice and cold.
Yeah. Nice and cold. I haven't seen you for a while, but it's nice to see you on the screen, yeah? Josh, we've got a very exciting afternoon ahead of us. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Awesome stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to share my screen. If you guys can confirm if you can see it.
Yeah, it looks perfect. Just
great.
Larger, that'll be great.
All right, perfect. Let's just get to do this. All right. Okay. Perfect. Let's move ahead. Okay. So today, guys, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us. It's our second talk we're giving with OnlineX, so we're super excited about it. As mentioned, we're going to be talking about building your online platform, building your house. We're going to be asking a few polls throughout the presentation just to gauge where you guys are at, who we have online. So we can try to pivot the conversation towards you guys. This is what we're going to be chatting about, right? Which camp are you? Does it really matter? Build your house, let's compare. Clarity through chaos, understand what you want to build. Let your users guide your build, why an MVP works so well, and build a website that makes you money. Use various platforms and tools to maximize your engagement. And if you build it, will they come, right? The most valuable currency in the world. So let's get started. All right, so there's a good poll for us. Let us do that when you can. Take a look. Which camp are you? Does it really matter? So, sorry. Okay. We've got 3 camps here. We've got camp 1, camp 2, and camp 3. So generally, a person will fit into one of these camps, right? Camp 1 is you're a business. Your business is already online to some degree. You are thinking about expanding your online presence. Camp 2, you're not currently online, but you are thinking about it and you want to go online. You see the importance or the value of it. And then camp 3 is you don't believe you need to be online because of the type of business that you run. You don't think you need to be online. You might be an engineer, a doctor, a therapist, a builder. Maybe you think if you're a surgeon, I don't really need. Who's going to go and Google top surgeons in Joburg if they're, it's most likely it will be a referral that might come into your head. So you're going to end up in one of these camps.
So Josh, it's very interesting. Since lockdown, coronavirus has almost taken over our lives. We've noticed, especially in our agency, a huge increase in inquiries from established businesses that have traditionally been online for many years, been offline, sorry, for many years now suddenly wanting to come online because, you know, the traditional model of business has changed. And people need to adapt to the times and what's going around us. So it's a very, very topical conversation like this at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. And I can tell you, even from a personal experience with what we've gone through, until you've seen this, you know, when this whole coronavirus started going down, I had a bit of an arrogance thinking, oh, we're digital, we're online, you know, it won't affect us. And a lot of our clients were tour companies and international tour companies and hotel chains. And we saw a massive drop of clientele. And a lot of revenue was taken out of business. And obviously we got a bit worried and we started upping things up, you know, getting things going. And what we did see though, after that week or so, was that there was a huge surge in leads coming in.
Huge.
Yeah, so to how can we get online? We wanted to take this time to take our business online. You know, during that lockdown, we got these few weeks. How can we maximize it? So it's been a massive surge. And it just is an indicator that this is where it's going. We know tons of massive companies, Shopify, I mean, just generally massive companies throughout the world who are now going remote. They're becoming a remote first type of business, and then there'll be a minor office, physical bricks and mortar office for them. So it's definitely happening, and there's no better time than now to jump on that bandwagon. So
absolutely.
So yeah, so we see it firsthand. And it doesn't really matter which camp you fall into, because for this presentation, everything's going to be relevant to you, which is key. And whether you're starting out or you have established business for over 20 years, you'll see the value in what we're saying as we go through. So the truth is that even if you sell a product, right, that's not online, so you're not an e-commerce store. A lot of people think, oh, I'm online, it's e-commerce. That's definitely not the case, because everyone else is online, and that's key. Because your potential customer is going online to find you. So if you have a billboard, if you're on a billboard, if someone sees you while they're driving, if you place an advert in a paper or the magazine, the first thing that your customer most likely do is go online, go into Google, type in that business name or that service provider, hit search, and try to find that person online. So whether you have a site or not, people are online, and therefore you need to be online because they're going to go and want to look for reviews. So we have to understand that the world is dynamic, that people are dynamic, and your business needs to be dynamic to cater for that. So if you don't have a website and you don't think you need a website because you're already getting work, you're getting work in already from word of mouth or whatever it is, you're losing the race. Not to sound hectic, but you're losing the race. And if you have a site and you think it's good enough as is, you're probably losing the race as well. And if you have a site and you're not doing any social media, you're losing the race. And if you have a site and only update it once a week with content and you think that's good enough, you're losing the race. And that's just the reality of where we are at. Because it's a message for business and it's a message for life. And I'll tell you why I say those two things is because the online world is a descending escalator. If you're not actively moving upwards, you're moving downwards. And tech changes so quickly. Something that was relevant a month ago, 2 months ago is changing, and it changes exponentially. So consumers are changing, how you engage with the world is changing. And unless you evolve your business, unless you evolve and your business evolves, eventually your business will die out and your competition will overtake you. That's a key element. And while this might be a scary thought, it's actually quite exciting at the same time, because never before in history have you been able to build or expand your own business in such a quick time frame for so cheap from your couch, right? With the entire world as your potential customer base. I mean, never before has this really been so accessible, and the information out there to upskill and educate yourself on this has never been so available. So it's a very scary thought, but at the same time, it's extremely exciting. And why I say this is a message for life is because business and life are also becoming very intertwined, right? You're engaging with your audience throughout your day and throughout their day, right? So you're going to have systems in place that when you're sleeping, you'll be running ads or be engaging in a certain way, or have processes in place that will hopefully be generating you leads or revenue. So it's happening all at the same time. At the same time, it's so much of this world is intangible, right? And this is a key fact that, and it's happened to us before, that I can build a site and our team can build a site that took 3 months to build, could take 6 months, could take a year. And the next month, the next day, it could be deleted for whatever reason. The business could go under, they want to change direction, they want something else, whatever the reason is. All that work, all that time and energy is up in the air. It's not something tangible.
Yeah.
So people want that human interaction. That's just what they want. And so when you in a very real sense. But because it's such a digital world and online isn't tangible, try keep that in mind when you're building your platform. Think about how you can make your platform more real for your end user.
Yeah, Josh, sorry, just to interject. You mentioned about the human element, the human factor. And I know you often speak to us about the WP Engine example, about how their service support structure works in terms of human interaction, which is a hugely beneficial for our company.
Yeah. So just to touch onto that, just so the viewers know what we're talking about. So WP Engine is an amazing hosting platform for websites, for specifically actually just for WordPress websites. And when they started coming up, the key focus, because there are tons of hosting providers out there. There are tons of them. What their key was that you could go online, whether it was for a sale or if you had signed up already and you needed support, there was a live chat that would be answered within 5 seconds. And I'm pretty sure that's not an exaggeration. I think it was within 5 seconds, you'd have a real person talking to you, engaging, which is phenomenal. And it shows you that people want service, and service is vital. But there's no support of that. I mean, so product's very important, but if you can't support that with customer support and service, what's going to happen is it doesn't matter that you can build the most phenomenal site. If you drop the ball and you don't hit deadlines and there's no updates and the customer support isn't there, you're going to ultimately just drop the ball. And they built this massive company, and one of the key factors for them was their customer support. So we always try to push that internally within our company, that just is such a major factor, that customer support. And how they do that, they did it with live chats. They did it, it's not the most mind-blowing tech, it's a live chat on the site that you can engage with someone. So that's just something that really just brings that home and just explains that to a large degree. So while we get into that, let's answer that poll. That would be great.
Go a new poll here.
Okay, so first it's important to understand what is a website and how it is built, right? So that's, when I say a website, it's a mobile application, it's a web application, it's a website, it's e-commerce, it's a brochure site. It doesn't really matter. When I talk about a website, I'm including everything there. So let's go into build your house and let's compare. So there are many ways to go online. For any website, there are 4 main elements to take into account. It's building your site, it's updating your content, it's general maintenance of the website, and say server, and it's hosting. So those are the 4 key elements. So let's go into a bit about your house and your website. And this will just give you a very good understanding of what goes into it, very high level, but just so you know what people are talking about when they talk about these different things and what you need to think about it when you're building it or looking at rebuilding your site, whether you're an individual or a large business. This will just give you a good breakdown of it. So your house is in a location, right? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so it's all quite, looking at your results, that's great. So sorry, I was just checking the question there on the chat. So your house is in a location. It needs to be located in a country, which is in a city, in a neighborhood, in a street, right? Your website's the same thing. This is where you host your site, right? You can host your site on servers in the UK, in America, in South Africa, in various locations. What you have to think about is that company that you're going to host with safe? Are they reliable? Are they scalable? What type of offering do they have? Is there support? So the location is important. It also makes a difference in terms of loading times. Now you do get things called like content delivery networks, which do sort that out to a degree. Generally back in the day, if your site was hosted in South Africa and you're trying to target people in America and you had no content delivery network, that loading time would be quite long, and you'd lose visitors, you'd lose people on that lag in your website loading.
Yeah.
So people would generally get a server internationally, put up their site there as well, and then target in that way. So now with content delivery networks, they kind of create these mini versions, in a sense, we'll keep it at that, of your site in locations, and load content dynamically. But the company itself is very key. Is it safe, reliable, and scalable, and is there that support? So the material when you build a house, you'll need to build a house out of something, right? Bricks, concrete, steel, wood. You have to choose what material you're using. And this is the platform that you're going to choose to build your website. From options like WordPress, you might have heard of Wix, Shopify, Magento. You could do a custom build. I'm not using necessarily a platform which depending on what you're building, that can be a big pro or a big con. But those are kind of options of your platforms. And then like what language, if you're building an application, is it PHP? Are you using Ruby on Rails and Angular? What language are you going to use? And the important thing of this is that when you choose what you build, just like when you build a house, you can build it in, say, wood. That's great, and it'll be brilliant. And then you might realize, wow, wood was actually not the best option. Oh, I should have built it out of bricks. It doesn't mean that you can now, or it basically means that you need to bash that down and create it again and build it again. And you don't want to be in that position. So choosing your material or what platform you're going to build on for your site is huge. Now, it doesn't mean you're stuck with them. You can do like renovations in a sense. You can do add-ons. You can do a subdomain, which we'll get into, and you can add on in various ways. But the core of your site is built in something. And if it's an application you're building, like a mobile app, for example, and you're building in Ruby on Rails, to move that over to a different language is not just this translation in a sense that's required. So make sure you know what language you're building in, what platform you want to use. Make sure it's the right platform for you. If you're running a content-based website with just a good blog and news feeds and articles, don't build it in Magento or Shopify. Build it in WordPress. And if it's a purely e-commerce, maybe then build it in Shopify. So there are various options, and a lot of them can do multiple things, but just take that into account. Your aesthetics, you'll need to work on an exterior and interior design of your house, so that it's not an empty shell, right? So once you've built it, you now have to make it look good. You have to put paint, flooring, furniture, accessories. You need to make sure it's appealing. So this is the design of your website. What the users see when they visit your site, right? Why this is important why is that important? And because people make judgments, right? When you, on first impressions, that's naturally what they do. So if you're going to go and go to a site that's just terribly designed and it's overwhelmed with color and imagery, and the flow doesn't make sense, if it's loading slowly, whatever the reason, you're gonna leave pretty soon, and you're gonna basically judge that company and business on that interaction because it's the first engagement. For example, if your site is a security site or you're selling stuff and it just looks terrible, or that it's been hacked, or it's not in line, if it's organic and it's such a structured, non-organic, if you're selling organic food, like, understand the aesthetics is a key. You want to make sure people know what you're talking about.
Look, we often mention that a website is a window into your business, and for many companies, it's a shop window. So therefore, it has to look good, because you would want your shop window to look good out to the public. So therefore, why wouldn't it look good on online? So it's very, very important that it looks good and that it appeals to the user who's going to be making use of it.
100%, and that relates as well from the aesthetic side into the user flow and user experience of the website. Just like a house, you'll bring someone in to place furniture in a way so there's a flow between the different rooms. So it's not
100%.
It makes sense. And that's a question: are you going to design the site in a way that allows for users to guide themselves quite easily through and navigate themselves through your site? And that's got to do with menu navigation and user experience and positioning of various things. Taking that all into account is vital. When we talk about maintenance, you need to do maintenance on your house, right? Fixing a roof leaks, electrical, plumbing issues, the basic wear and tear of your house. And that happens on a website 100%. So this is the maintenance that you require. It can be on the site itself, right, if you're using an open source platform, and it can be also on the server to take that into account. And if you look at a house, you've got different options. You've got a freestanding home. You've got a freestanding home maybe in a gated community or a townhouse. You've got blocks of flats. So those come with different advantages and disadvantages. For example, if you have your own house, freestanding, not within a gated community or a boom or anything like that, you're going to have to do your own security. So you're going to have to put up electric fencing. If you're in South Africa and Joburg, you're going to be putting getting an armed response set up every month. You're going to be getting cameras. You might want to make sure your locks are 100%. You're going to be doing that security yourself. If you're in a gated community, you've got maybe your guy in the front, right? Your guard with the boom, checking everyone, one point of call. If you're in a block of flats, so then you may be paying levies that are going to take care of all the maintenance and the security, and you have a lot less to worry about. But then it's coming with certain disadvantages, because on your freestanding home, you know, your levies might not be 4 or 5 grand a month. They might just be 1,000 or 1,500. So you're paying extra for that, but then you don't have to do it. And that relates to the type of platform you're using and the type of server you're using. You can use a platform, for example, that's Shopify, it's a commercial product. So you're paying them a monthly fee, and they will take care of a lot of the hosting for you and the maintenance. And you can get stuff like maybe WordPress that's self-managed and self-hosted. And then you can get options where you hire an agency to do that for you, which can sometimes equate to around the same price. But the point is that it's the pros and cons of both. And when you're thinking of like that house and gated community and block of flats, it's important as well. But also understanding how much traffic can a block of flats get in? You know, if you want to have a party with 1,000 people, how many people can fit in your flat or in the door, through the door at once? How many people will get there, see it's all, you know, there's too much congestion and then just leave? You need to make sure that your hosting environment can allow for that scalability, so that when you're running a crazy campaign, it's not going to crash and people aren't going to be able to get inside and purchase from you, whatever your offering is.
Josh, sorry, just a question that's come in. It's quite a good question. A lot of people want to know this. Is it possible to see how many people are viewing your website at any given point?
100%, yeah. So definitely, and we'll chat about that just towards the end briefly. But you definitely can, and that's going to be Google Analytics as a basic. So with Google Analytics, you'll install that on your site, and you'll be able to see a live view of how many guys are currently on your site at that second, which is a great tool. And Google Analytics can sometimes be a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of data, and sometimes I know there's a previous webinar about big data for small businesses, and it was really great, and you should take a listen to that. But you definitely can, and there are different tools you can use to see what is happening on your site, and we'll definitely talk about some of those tools towards the end of the webinar, which will just help you understand your site better. So you definitely can. And then the last thing with your site is just you'll need to offer your guests something, right, when they arrive. Like if you're at your house and you have people over, you know, is there someone to greet them? Are there fresh snacks? Is there, if you're in an office, is there signage to the bathroom? Like, is it built in a way?
That doesn't happen anymore. We don't get visitors in this day and age. It's in lockdown, so I'm not sure what that's.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that actually. So this is actually the content on your site, right? Is it fresh? Is it helpful? Is it enjoyable, right? What are you offering your visitor? Is there someone to help guide them through your site? Is there a live chat or pop-ups showing them that there's sales or there's something new happening for the next 24 hours? You know, like, think about it. If your content's the same the whole time and you're directing people to that site, imagine going to someone's home and they have pastries from the last 2 weeks or a month and just sitting there and there's nothing fresh. It's not an enjoyable experience. You want to gain something from that. You know, people come to your house for a meal, they want to enjoy it, they want stuff. The same thing is for your site as well. So that comparison of your house and everything that kind of goes into it, you know, knowing the size, can you know, don't put yourself on a server that allows for 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms when you know you're going to need to expand into 3, 4, 5 bedrooms, or at least, so think about the house and the home as your website, and a lot of those things have a great comparison. So you'll be able to kind of self-educate yourself, with that as well.
You know, it's interesting, Josh, just to interject, you know, we get a lot of queries, people coming to us saying, I need a website. Can you please quote me? Or do you have a set quote for a website? And I mean, you would never go to a building contractor and say, listen, I'm looking to build a house. What's going to cost? You know, or just give me a fixed quote. Like, it's impossible. There's no way a decent building contractor will do that. So, and likewise applies to a developer and people in our game. They would never be able to do that properly.
100%. And I think you know, agencies can sometimes find that quite frustrating. But the reason is because they don't want to deliver, or it should be that they don't want to deliver something to the client that's not going to fulfill his needs. In the same way, you know, you're going to be building a house, you're going to be putting money down into something, you know, and if you're going to be building a website, it's that same thing. You want to know what you're getting, and you want your builder or your architect to be able to deliver that as well. So it's when a client asks, like, how much does the site cost? It's really how long is a piece of string and what functionality do you need? You know, you have a one-pager website,
exactly,
a page for market funneling and marketing for funneling and getting guys to, you know, that can be totally separate to your site. There's a one-pager that could generate a ton of revenue for you. So why do you need a site? What are you doing? What functionality do you need? Always go through that. It's very seldom that someone will be able to say, unless they've got a product or a package and it's very clear and you can see exactly what the add-ons are and what X and Y does. But generally that would kind of be maybe in a builder site type of setup where you've got your basic, and then you add, okay, I want a blog functionality, I want e-commerce, and then naturally that
is that like with Wix?
So it can be with Wix. Definitely, they've got those options. Shopify have those options. WordPress have those options. But sometimes you can get agencies who put together these offerings that will allow you to kind of have a package. You know, like X website for X package, it costs this. This is what it includes. And then if you want extra, you know, it becomes the add-on. So it's kind of like an online purchase, but done kind of from a proposal type of thing. So there are various options, and there's no set price. And by the way, a little insider, secret is that the same site the exact same site that is built by one person could be 10 grand or 20 grand, and another person could be 50 grand or 80 grand. And remember, it's not just the site that you're looking for. So it's the service, it's the deadlines. If you need something by the end of the month, for example, and you need someone to get it done. So if you're going with a cheaper option, that can be totally fine. Just make sure that there's a support to that they'll be able to deliver on that. And so you're not just paying for the actual code and design, you're paying for the service, the project management, the engagement, the research, the knowledge, the expertise, knowing what the best tools are for you. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. So we just want to chat about going through some clarity through chaos. Understand what you want to build. So I know we're running a bit short of time. Clarity through chaos, right? So in order to get clarity, initially you need some chaos, right? The process of any website or application creation generally falls into the following phases. And these phases, especially the first one, will actually change the way you approach a new business venture and even your existing business that you're looking to expand. So how we do it, and we try to do this with all our clients, is you break it down into a discovery session, user stories and wireframing, user interface design, and development and coding. So we're going to jump into the discovery session quickly, just to give you a basic idea of what we do, what we try and do, what I'd suggest to you guys to do and think about, and even some 1 or 2 sessions that we run within it, just to show you how to get it going. So what we do is we sit down with our clients for a certain amount of time and just brainstorm ideas about what they want. Now, depending on the budget and the type and scale of the product, it can be anywhere from an hour session to multiple day workshops. It's very free flowing. As soon as the idea comes up, we throw it onto the board or as a sticky note. The ideas can be totally out there, absolutely random. And it's you, it's your team, it's everyone. It's not just like your core, top 3 guys. Get as many people involved as you can, because those ideas, someone will say something and it will spur on another idea. It's really there to get the creative juices flowing. So often we end up with tons of sticky notes, as I say, and that's good, because at this point it's not about the order in a sense, it's about the chaos. So the more chaos, the better. And as I said, it allows for ideas to come through that you wouldn't have thought about, and one idea builds onto the next, which builds onto the next, and so on.
And Josh, just also on that discovery sessions, it's also important to include the right people from the company. You can often find that some companies exclude certain staff members because they think their input might not be of particular huge value, which is wrong, because sometimes the people on the ground and the people who are going to be making, providing the service and engage with clients are the people that can provide the best input. So it's a very important, you should never leave those kind of people out.
100%, definitely. Those guys you never know that those people could end up being the perfect example of your end user, who will know more maybe than you would, because they're the end client or they're the end customer. So that is huge. Just an interesting thing came up in the poll about how many people actually would like to build their own websites. So it's very interesting to see that. 100%. And you can run this discovery session for yourself, even if it's yourself with some family members or some friends, to just try to help you out, get some coffee, get some whiskeys, I don't know, whatever you're into, make it a fun environment and worthwhile. And you'll see actually how much value will come out of it. 100%. So I'm just thinking if I can think of an example so a great example would actually be if you took a service platform, right? And now I'll talk about this briefly because I know a lot of these exist, and I'm not giving away anyone's IP or anything like that. So, imagine a person came and said to you, or client came to us and said, listen, I want to build a service provider platform that I can just go online and anyone can see the closest service provider in the area, right? Could be, or the closest one to me within a 3-kilometer radius. Great. So now often the client will say to us, how much will that cost? And now that's how long is a piece of string. So this discovery session is about that. So we'll go in and we'll start saying, okay, well, what functionality do you want? Just to gauge if they thought about, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. So we sit down and we say, okay, cool. Well, what type of service provider? So they'll say, cool, well, I'd like, let's think about it. And they say, it could be electricians, it could be plumbers, it could be hairdressers, it could be gardeners, it could be anything. Okay, brilliant. So we'll throw up all these random things. And already you start seeing, okay, cool, multiple providers. So we need category sections in there for the build. Then you'll say, okay, how do I want to engage? So I want to be able to engage with them. I want to know how, their location, where the location is. So once we know the location and where they are, we need a portal, we need a login for the provider as well, not just the end user, right? So then they need a whole section to it. And then you want to maybe talk about ratings and if there's references and referrals, and is there a way to rate to see if I'm getting someone good or bad? So there's a whole section that needs to be built out for that. And then you can start thinking about, well, as a provider, what do I need as a service provider? So you might want to start doing talks and engaging with these service providers and see what they're missing. And some might say, my CRM, my client relationship management tool is terrible. I don't really know invoicing, or I don't have a way to engage with the people properly. So you might start thinking, oh, well, we could be no engagement. You could think maybe we'll have a virtual secretary offering for them, and that's a whole add-on. Or you could have live chats, and you can have history and log. So you can come up with all these ideas really within that discovery session, and you might not build them out, right? But it just gives you a nice idea of how it works. And what I like to do is run a session called the nuts and bolts, and that is really to get the creative juices going, right? And how it works is the following way. I'm just going to jump through it pretty quickly. If I had a 1 million rand, you print this type of page out, and you say, if I had 1 million rand, I would X in order to do Y. And don't worry about budgets or what you would do from a tactile, on the ground. Just be up in the air. So let's say your clients did the following. If I had 1 million rand, I would take all my employees on a trip to Thailand, and in order to allow them to have a relaxing, all expenses paid holiday, right? That's what every business owner would love to do there for their employees. The next month.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
If I had 1 million rand, the next person would say, I would donate money to a community organization to build a school, right? And in order to make a difference to the community by providing them with infrastructure. Great, wonderful. Now what you do is you split the bottom two, right? And now this is where it will start to get interesting. If I had 1 million rand, I would take all my employees to a trip to Thailand in order to make a difference to the community by providing them with infrastructure, which is very interesting. In the next one, I would donate the money to community organizations to build a school in order to allow them to have a relaxing, all expenses paid holiday. Now, some of these will make sense, some not at all, but that's the whole point. It's one, to let people not feel worried about giving ideas, and that silly things can work. And actually phenomenal things can come of this. Like, for example, this one right here, as a business owner, Thailand is associated with a holiday. But imagine me taking my whole team to Thailand to literally help build a school or
give back
infrastructure and giving back. Like, imagine what that would hold for my company, like how that will be remembered. Not just another holiday that was a chore, but it made a difference to the world. So now I might think, flip, this is actually an amazing thing. Let me think about that. I would never maybe have think about that otherwise. But because this thing comes together, it changes how you think, which is really great. So now we're running out of time, so I'm going to try and push ahead. Once you've done that, you get to user stories and wireframes, right? So once you've had that discovery session, you take that raw data, right, all those sticky notes, and you put it into a user story and a wireframe. So a user story is when you go through the process of what each user will do. And it becomes very specific and a bit less exciting and fun, and with a very basic example. And we could talk about the service provider as well, but a newsletter sign up, right? You'll say, I as a end user want to sign up to a newsletter. I as a user want to enter my first name, last name, and email into a field. I as a user will click and click submit, and the notification will show up that replaces the form. I as a user will get an email notification in my inbox confirming my sign up. I will then click the confirmation link, and then I'll be directed to a confirmation page that tells me my sign up has been successful. So that's a very simple idea of what a user story is. The reason I use it is because everyone's probably gone through that process. But remember, someone had to come up with that process for it to make sense. So, if you're thinking of a user story for the example we gave with the service provider platform, I as a user want to be able to find service providers close to me. I as a user want to be able to adjust that distance, within 3, 5, 10, 20 kilometers. So you start actually seeing, I didn't realize maybe I need a feature that needs to allow me to adjust providers within my area to filter down. I as a user want to be able to rate my supplier so that I can give information. Okay, I need a filter system. I need this, I need that. I need a star on the front end. I need a rating. So this is very vital, because this is actually where you start to understand what's going on into your build. And if you go into the wireframe, once you've got those user stories for each person, right, you need to then take that together and create a wireframe. And this is basically a sketch of what goes where. If it's a newsletter sign up, it's the fields, the buttons, the form, where it's placed, if there any other content or copy or imagery on the page, right? It's sketched out so it makes sense. And it's a bit of a dance between these two, because there'll be things missing from the user stories that you thought of in the wireframe, and things that are in the wireframe that aren't in the wireframe that you need to add. So it's always this up and down between tweaking until you get to a product. And ultimately this, and I tell our clients, this is your IP. This is what you're building really, because from this point on, it's vital what needs to be done, but you've got something tangible that you can take to various agencies, and you can now get quite very, very, very specific quotes about.
Oh, it's now the blueprints of your business. It's a blueprints of your website, and that's, I mean, once you get to that point, then you can really build off that, and you know exactly which direction you're going.
Definitely, 100%. And then we'll move over to the user interface design, which is now where you start choosing your fonts for the wireframe, the font sizes, the color, the palettes, the graphic elements, the buttons, everything you'll actually be seeing and engaging with the final product. That's what you're going to be seeing now. It's not going to be live, it'll be just imagery, but you'll understand what needs to be changed. And you can design this in various software. Photoshop's probably what you've heard of the most, but there are lots of options. There's Sketch, Illustrator, Adobe XD, InDesign, Studio, Figma, the list goes on. You can build it with multiple things. You then jump into the coding. At this stage, you have the design ready to go. All you need to do is code it up, which is simple enough, but not really, because remember, you have to choose your platform and your agency or your freelancer, or you must do the research to make sure you're building on the right platform. You don't want something that a year or two down the line you realize was the wrong thing, and now it's not scalable to a mobile application if that was the end goal, you know. So the pros and cons to both, and just remember to try and code it always up in a scalable platform so you don't have to rebuild, because that's going to cause a lot of headaches. So scalability is always key. So let your users guide you, and why an MVP works so well. So an MVP is a minimum viable product. It's a basic thing that you need in order to get the site, your product to work, right? Your application. So for the service example, which is a great one, you know, you don't need the digital virtual secretaries and the live chats or chats histories and XYZ. All you really need, if it's to get people, is providers online. They don't have to even be able to engage. You can just have a logo, their logo with their contact details and what they do. And that could be it, you know. In category could be based in Joburg or Gauteng or Durban, whatever it is. You can build that basic one and then start seeing from your users, what do they want from you? So there's something called desire paths, and it's part of the, and if you guys have ever heard of this thing, I'll just quote you something from Wikipedia, right? A desire path is a path that has, great poll, created is a path created as a consequence of erosion caused by human or animal foot traffic. The path usually represents the shortest or most easily navigated route between an origin and destination. The width and severity of the erosion are often indicators of the traffic level and the path that a path receives. So if you look at this, this is great. This is like one of my favorite things in the world. So this is the path that was created by the guys who thought this would be the correct thing. And this line here is where everyone's been walking.
It's fascinating. And we can all relate to that.
100%. We all do it.
I will do it. I'll be honest. I'm guilty of that.
So, and it's normal, and that's human psychology. So it shows user experience is key. There's there's what they built. They thought it would look very nice. And then there's the user path, because that is the shortest distance. These as well. Same thing here. That was just, that's causing friction. Cool. They brought that through there, and people just started doing that. On the right here, we've got, I think it's Ohio University. They basically didn't build anything initially. They let their users over years or whatever it was create these design paths themselves. Once they, and you can see what they've been created, they then went and just paved over that, which is
okay. So that's like a before and after there.
Exactly, it's a before and after. So that is, I mean, this is not a normal design, right? You not think that's an aesthetic design. It's so functional, and it's getting them to do what they want, and then have to repave and uppave and refix the grass the whole time. So it's just very, very clever. And it shows you that user experience is key. So you're creating, so what you're basically doing, you're creating what your users want instead of you assuming
what they want.
Or hoping that'll be something that they want. It's really engaging that data from them and building off that. So you can build products based on your users even. And if you took an example of a t-shirt design company, let's say option one, you're the owner and you get a super talented artist and you ask them to create a beautiful design, and you think, flip, this guy's unbelievable. I'm convinced people will buy it. All I need to do is market it, and you get it done and you market it and nothing happens and you don't understand why. Option two, as a t-shirt design company, you go on Facebook, you break down your audience into people who maybe live in New York, love cats and love tattoos, right? Those three. Now let's merge those three together. And now you can design a t-shirt of a cat with tattoos, which might be a bit odd, but with a Manhattan skyline, and you have the perfect product to sell to those people, and that works. And that's a case study that exists. So that t-shirt company, right, is now literally saying, this is my target market. let's build it, let's make it work, let's bring them together, let's the user define what needs to happen. Bit different when they're defining, you're finding out stuff about them, but that data is hugely important, and you're selling directly to them. So I know we're running a bit, we've got a couple more minutes. So build a website that makes you money, right? Use various platforms and tools to maximize your engagement. These are some really important stuff that I think, take screenshots if you want, but there's some great tools here. So various platforms and tools that can help generate revenue for you. And these are not plugins, right? There's no such thing as a get rich quick scheme. So it's not that you add it and you'll just start making money. That doesn't really exist. These are tools and platforms that will really take your site to the next level. It's going to include targeting, customer targeting, acquisition, retention, support, tracking, landing page creation, for marketing funnels that are vital, because your site actually is one element, and then how your lead generation is actually a different element. You never direct people to your homepage when you're running a campaign. You direct them to a specific landing page. And it'll include stuff like analytics, like we spoke about, the question about seeing how many people can be live at the same time on your site. So just a few analytics, Google Analytics, key. If anything, you just make sure you get that set up correctly, because that is the basis of so much. You get stuff called Hotjar and Crazy Egg, which is like heat map and behavior tools. You'd use this, for example, it tracks mouse movements. Like if I'm going over here and I try to click this, let's say this was meant to be a button, I click, you'll see a heat map here. And maybe this might mean that, wow, the button doesn't have a link, it's not working. Why isn't the convert? Why aren't they moving from page to page? Or maybe it's been designed in a way that the user thinks it's a button, but you didn't mean for it to be a button. So the heat maps are very, very important and really can change what your users are doing and how you can kind of guide them as well. And something called Google Marketing Platform. Check this out. There's so much you can do with this. It's unbelievable. Huge. It's absolutely huge. And it'll even teach you and give you tutorials. It's phenomenal. From a customer support side, you've got Intercom, Talk. These are live chat services. If yours is an online service industry, 100% you need these. Talk's more free, and with upselling. Intercom gets quite expensive, but it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal product.
Great. Very robust.
Very, very robust. You get stuff with Freshdesk, Zendesk, knowledge-based systems. So users maybe don't want to talk to someone, because you definitely do get those type of people, but they want to browse a wealth of information you can offer. That's key. Payment gateways. I mean, this is the sponsor today. Vital. And remember, it's not just products. You can get your service to be paid. Your services paid online. Don't just think I have to sell a product, I need a payment gateway just for that. You can have recurring, if you run a gardening service, a landscaping thing, and you want to get guys on recurring payments so that your cash flow is better. Payment gateways are phenomenal for recurring payments, subscription models, getting people to convert quickly, because if you want to sign up for a webinar, pay for something, or do X or Y, engaging, but if there's something online, quick and easy, changes everything. So with them, make sure that they're high quality, because that's a key element. Make sure that the functionality and the requirements that you have, they can provide. And
Josh, just a question on that point. I came through a little bit earlier. I apologize, I'm going to get into it now. One of the attendees mentioned something about privacy, because often especially if you're going to be using a payment gateway, a lot of information is going to be coming through, with credit card details, where you live, your name, your surname. How's that protected? How do we make sure that doesn't get into the wrong hands?
So the beauty of payment gateways, and Brendan can, Paygate, I can let them speak about that more. That's definitely their expertise. But the beauty of it is that you should never be storing ever people's credit card details on your website, or on the back end of your site, because that's non-compliant with a whole bunch of issues and regulations, GDPR, a whole bunch of stuff. The beauty of payment gateways is that they take that risk ultimately for you, in a sense. They're keeping track of all those elements, and they create stuff like token. It's quite a detailed thing, but that information is kept with them. So you will maybe get some information when they make a payment, when they sign up, with that you might want to get their name and email and get them onto an email list. You have to make sure that you're storing that in the correct place, and it's got the correct security there, whether it's on your site or if it's within your CRM system. A lot of these tools kind of take that risk away, from a sense. Like if your stuff is all within Zoho or Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever your CRM is, it's all within them. And that's why you're paying them what you're paying them, because they take a lot of that risk away from you, and they are supporting it. They're making sure it's safe and secure all the time. So it's a bigger discussion. Chat about it a bit more, but there are ways and means to do it the right way. But never, ever, ever, ever take people's credit card details just with a normal little form that gets sent to your email. That's you're doing a disservice to everyone else.
Any other questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll get to them quite soon.
Build a site that makes you money.
Just got a new poll.
Generation. So landing pages are huge. As I said, you might be happy with your site, but you want something more versatile for your landing page, right? That's vital. So let's say your site's built in, I don't know, Shopify, right? But you want to get lead generation, from the campaigns you're running. So maybe use something like WordPress with a page builder like Elementor, if you want something quick for you or for your agency, to build it out. Or you could use Wix for that as well. Very easy backend drag and drop. So your site could be built in one thing, but your landing page where you're driving for your lead generation can be built in something else. It can be a subdomain, it can be another directory. That's a discussion, but that's really important. Even like stuff like HubSpot allow you have built-in landing page creation tools, and then also syncs right into the CRM with them. So a lot of good options there. And as well as personalizing your landing pages to specific people or specific groups of people, right? No longer is it just like, this is the landing page, let's hope. You get A/B testing, you can tweak the content based on the personal people that are viewing it, so it's more relevant to them, to the degree where you could target people, like say 20 people you want to target, their names, stuff about them. Build that landing page that is built to them. Say, hi, John, check this out, thought it would be awesome. Imagery that relates to them, that's more specific to them. It will actually, your conversion rate is much higher. And then if it's a group of people, right, then obviously, how you're going to engage with a surgeon or doctor is going to be different to an electrician, to a plumber, to an entrepreneur, to a businessman, whatever it is. So that's very, very important. And that comes with A/B testing as well. Financial analytics, I know we're running slow time, I apologize. This will be nearly done. Financial analytics is huge. If you have an online store, make sure you have your accounting software connected. Like Xero, can integrate with your WordPress WooCommerce site. Make sure you're using software for data analysis, right? This is just a general tip and a great tool like Futurely or Float. Basically, it just integrates with your accounting package. And for example, I'm not the best with numbers. It's not my strong suit, but these guys will tell me, did you know, like, X person is within your top 10 customers. And it's actually happened to me. That's why I brought it up, because I didn't know one client of ours was actually one of our top 10 in terms of the revenue generation. And they were a bit of a difficult client, but I'm like all in with them now because they're in my top 10. I didn't realize that these tools will show you like who's your high risk client because they pay 3 months later or 2 months. Who's great, which type of clients are better for you. And you might start seeing that, wow, most of my clients are X, Y, and Z. And I should be targeting those more because those are good payers. Those are getting better leads and better revenue generation from them. The next is content creation, right? Maybe you want to build a WordPress site for your blog. It can be a subdomain, as I said. So if your site's on Shopify, but you want a content-based website for articles, WordPress might be better for that. So use it. Use multiple platforms. Your website and your application is a tool to generate revenue. So you should use whatever's out there to help you do that. Try things out, test things out. I mean, don't be like sold to something. A site's there, it's there to make you and your family money. Don't get attached to it. Give people information. This is a big thing. Often people are scared to share knowledge, to share their street secrets or trade secrets. And it's really just the opposite nowadays. People want to learn, they want to understand, they want to feel that their service providers know what they are doing and have the ability to contribute. All right, you don't want to maybe go to someone who doesn't explain in a building like why they use this or how they use this, why it's the best thing. You want to understand that. People are scared because, if I tell them that, then I've lost everything. It's not really the case anymore. It's a global village. Like your customer base could be the whole world. If it's local, you're building a relationship with people. It's networking. Give information, share it, and just get involved. If you build it, will they come? Right, the most valuable currency in the world. So that's a nice little line that I always follow. And websites don't rely on this. If you build it, they will come strategy. Don't build your mansion and not have anyone coming through the doors. The most valuable currency in the world right now, it's not pounds, it's not dollars, it's definitely not rands, we know that for sure. It's attention, right? So it's vital that you have budget for marketing. Don't take your budget, put 100 grand into it and have nothing for marketing, because you're actually going to, I've seen phenomenal apps, absolutely brilliant applications. They had no money for marketing. They spent about $1 million on an app build. They had no money for marketing and it went dead. And had that marketing, I guarantee you, I would have taken off because it was just brilliant. But they didn't, unfortunately. So don't spend all your money on the build.
And vice versa. That's, you don't want to also have great marketing and get a lot of attention, and then now suddenly you get traffic to the website and they can't make use of your website. Your website's not up for the challenge.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a balance, and it's a very important balance to make sure that you get it right. Because if you get it wrong, then it's a terrible investment. Then you really going to struggle.
And that means build it right. Build the MVP right, make it work, and then do your marketing. I'm going to just finish off quick. This is the last slide. Make sure people know about your stuff. There's already tons of competition, which is a good thing. It means that your service, it's a proven concept in the sense, so don't stress about that if that's the case. Educate yourself. There were no degrees in Facebook advertising, when it started. There was nothing like that. It changes so quickly that syllabus can't be updated and signed off quick enough. So upskill yourself, and once you're able to get the user's attention on your landing page, you've paid for that. Now it's just about converting them, right? Whether it's buying a product, downloading a free report, or requesting a quote. Okay, and some trade secrets. We can maybe, I can go through them quickly. Maybe I can get some advice from the OnlineX guys. But otherwise,
you can keep going. You can keep going. I think everyone came for the trade secrets.
Okay, cool. So just a few trade secrets. So I've done a talk before just about agency, DIY, freelancer, which you can speak about with some questions. But a good agency or freelancer listens more than they talk. If they start giving you advice without asking questions or understanding your business, just be wary about that. They should understand you. They should be a partner with you. Built with. Go to builtwith.com and similar software out there. You can actually see what platform and add-ons are being used on other business sites, company sites. If there's something specific you love this booking system, you love this the way, I don't know, whatever it could be, you can check, you can probably see what they're doing, see if they're using an add-on, what they're using, and install that yourself as well. You might need some configuration, but it's a great system. Often clients believe that platform dictates how the website will look. If I build it on WordPress, it looks a certain way, it's terrible, I'd rather build it than this. A platform is the engine, right? It's the engine, it's not what you're seeing. The front end can look any way you want. It can build the exact same site in WordPress, in Shopify, in custom, in even Wix, nearly, let's say, and that's just the front end. And we've done tons of WordPress conversions from other sites and vice versa. So the front end is nothing to do with the platform itself. If you're using open source software, never just click the update button, right? People think you can do your own maintenance, like, oh, update plugin, update WordPress. It'll leave you in a panic sometimes. Your site can go crash, it can go down. There hasn't been any checking that there's compatibility issues. So do it right, do it on a staging environment, never on your live site. Especially if getting traffic, because now you've just lost all that traffic that you've paid for. Cool thing for images, do a reverse Google image search for stock photos. Sometimes you're lucky and you actually find another site offering the same image for free, a legitimate site, so you can get some cool free stock photography there. Just because your site looks good, it doesn't mean that it will function well. Check the loading speed of your site using Pingdom, Page Insights. If your site loads slowly, you will lose potential users. All that traffic and money you spent, all that hard-earned cash that you're directing people to your site now, are going to drop if it's loading slowly. So diagnose the problems, and these sites will help you diagnose that. Your website is a tool to make you money. As I said before, don't get too attached. The goal for all businesses is to generate revenue. Your site needs to help you do that. And your brand is so much more than your logo. And I'm going through this now, even with a couple of clients. Your logo, Nike, Apple, Google, their logos are not mind-blowing. They're not out of this world. It's the entire brand and marketing strategy that dictates what you feel when you see those logos. Make sure that focus is on your brand and not just your logo. If I told you, 30 years or whatever ago that, or 40, 50 years ago, that if I showed you a little check mark, a little tick, you're going to want to exercise and live a good lifestyle and eat healthy, you think I'd be absolutely insane. Right? But that's what Nike's done. You think of Apple, you think of things that just work. You see that logo, you think of just beautiful aesthetic and functioning work. You think of Google, you think of information and accessibility, not because the logo is mind-blowing, it's because of what they built around it. And the last thing I always say is douche tax, and it's a real thing. Douche tax means that you need to be nice to your freelancer, your agency. If you're nice, they're going to throw things in for free. If you're not nice, they will up their prices purely because of the way you interact with them. Be critical though, and make sure you're 100% happy with your work, but don't be a douche, because no one likes a douche. So, but that's a real thing, by the way.
That's fantastic, yeah.
Just be nice. Everyone wants to do well, make money together, and just be nice. But that's about it.
So we're getting some great questions coming in. I do apologize in advance if we don't get to them all, but should you have a question you want to still follow up with us, please feel free to email us. Our email address is create@brandinfusion.co.za, or our website is www.brandinfusion.co.za as well. And we'll be happy to answer any of your questions over there as well. Josh, just to touch on some of the questions that came through, and I apologize if I'm not going in the order that they did come through, but some of them are quite interesting. And the one I want to touch on came in right now, just in terms of costs. So before they said, how much does a discovery session cost? How much does development cost? I mean, as we said, how long is a piece of string? And just to remind everybody, you know, it does require quite a detailed brief in order to give a detailed quote, a detailed cost. Yeah,
it definitely does. That's just the truth of it all. And just remember, you're not just paying for the design work. Often, it's a hard question. The cost can be, as I say, you can get guys who charge 100 Rand an hour, 900 Rand, 1,500 Rand an hour. That same website could be, or the look of that website could be 5 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand. So it's all quite, that's the hardest thing I think about this industry, is that also anyone can call themselves a designer, anyone can call themselves a developer, and that's, like, for example, we have developers who work for us who never studied it officially, they didn't get a degree, but they're so upskilled, they're so phenomenal in what they do. But at the same time, I could say, yeah, I'm a developer. I did a 2-week course. I'm a developer. And then if you don't know, test them, vet them, check their portfolio. If their stuff is good and their quality is good and their service is good, chances are paying them more of a premium is worth it. If you're building your house and you want to do it yourself as a side project, that's cool. DIY, lacquer as a side project, but maybe you want to get the right architect involved, the right builder to consult. There are ways and means you can go about it, but you would never put your money into something, especially in revenue generation for you.
And also quite important. I mean, once your website's up and running and it's beautiful and it's all functional, I mean, how do you get people there? I mean, that's what everybody wants to know. I mean, what's the best way to get people to actually come visit you?
Yeah, so that's as we said, that's the marketing side. You have to run marketing. You have to create content. You have to, you just have to run campaigns, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. You need to direct guys and spend time doing it. It's
and also, there's a question about how important Google Analytics is. I mean, that's just going to help you guide your campaigns, and you're going to see what works or what doesn't work. And you're going to apply those findings to the next campaign. And if it did work, then great, and you can apply the same strategy. And if it didn't work based on the findings from Google Analytics, you go back to the drawing board and come up with a new solution.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
So I'm going going through some really great questions coming in terms of just platforms. Any WordPress plugin you can recommend for SEO?
Yeah, so the best one, the top is Yoast, YOAST.com. Not only is it great for SEO, and it's kind of like the standard now in WordPress, but their knowledge base is phenomenal. So they'll actually guide you through what you need to do for your SEO. I mean, there's a ton of content. I think they even have courses as well. So Yoast is the one you want to use, and just engage with them as a company in general. It'll really guide you if you're looking to do it yourself as well, like a DIY method.
Okay, great. So we do have a short time. We're going to end off with one last question that came through, and I'm just going to read it straight from the chat here. It says, if you are an artist and an author, should your website cover both, or should you have 2 websites? So it's quite an interesting question. Often we get people like having, you have 2 kind of products on the websites. Is it too confusing? What's the best way to go about it?
So I think it depends on what you're offering. If you're offering yourself as a brand, right, as a website.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Let's say if it was me, right, joshjaffe.com, right? If I was saying, what am I? I'm the creative director of this. I happen to like carpentry, X, Y, Z. I might have all these different elements of me. So if you're building a personal brand, it's a question of a personal brand versus a company business. Like, are you selling art? Or are you selling poetry? Are you selling books? Or are you building as your personal brand? Because that's the big question there. Once you know that and you've decided what the best option is, and that's also the discovery session idea. If you're an artist, great, but then are you selling online? Should you sell online? Maybe you should be doing subscriptions for people to, I don't know. I mean, there's so many options you could do, but that's the very important one.
Fantastic. No, look, that's a great question. Look, there's some questions just in terms of what do we charge for quotes. Like I said, please feel free to contact us after this. We don't a detailed brief. We don't charge for quotes, by the way. But get in touch with us, and we can advise you as the best way to handle your brief as well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. And it's been a really great and informative webinar. Josh, thank you. You are the best at what you do.
Awesome.
I'm not just saying that because I work for you. I'm going to hand you back to our colleagues and our partners at OnlineX, just so they can wrap it up as well. And then, yeah, thank you very much for your time, everybody. Keep warm. And hopefully we can see you guys again soon.
Yeah, get online. Have a good one.
Over to you, Brendan.
Josh and Dylan, thanks so much for the insight. Some nice analogies being used there. Josh, yeah, making it more real, bringing the human element to it. Dylan, the website is a window to the business, and I couldn't agree with you more on that. So make sure your shop front is always ready to receive somebody. We need to remember on the shop front side, it's not a 9-to-5 business, this online world. It's a 24/7 business. So be ready to receive a customer at any point in time during the day. Yeah, and there's so much more we could speak about from a payment gateway perspective, in terms of you know, how to choose a payment gateway, the security around a payment gateway. So if there's any questions around that, feel free to reach out to us. You can get us at info.sa@dpogroup.com. And we'll gladly assist with those questions with regards to payment gateways. But Josh, Dylan, and OnlineX, guys from Brand Infusion, thanks very much. Really insightful webinar.